Welcome back
Welcome back to Basic Banter for Witches.
We always do that in the beginning. I'm like, welcome back. And it's like, we're both saying it. But anyways, welcome back, guys.
Yeah. Hope you can hear us both. But if not, oh well.
Oh well, that's fine. Too bad, so sad for you.
Yeah, legit. Oh my gosh, we are so excited. We are so blessed this season to meet so many incredible guests, and we have one that I've been talking to for a long time now, and we finally just decided, like, you know what, we need to reach out to her to get her on the podcast. It's the amazing Vanessa from Belle Âme Healing.
Woo woo.
Vanessa, did I say your business name correctly, or is it pronounced differently?
Lots of people say Belle Âme. I say Belle Âme.
Oh, salami. Very fancy.
Yes.
Salami.
Yes.
It's like salami, but balami.
Just as that's what my husband remembers. He's like, I know it's like bologna, salami, balami.
Salami.
Gets there.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, as somebody who doesn't know you personally, I'm really excited for this. Really excited to like see kind of what we're going to chat about. I was having a good snoop over your Instagram, in the last few weeks since we've been chatting. And although I told Brittany, I don't want to know too much. I want to I kind of know what we're going to chat about, but also I think from our, podcast and stuff is when I get to learn so much. And Britt too, it's enlightening for everybody. So I'm really excited. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for saying yes.
Thanks for having me. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so a bit of background for me and Vanessa is her and I got connected through a mutual friend, our friend Jess White, who if she doesn't know about the podcast, I'm going to message her to be like, hey, Jess, I'm talking about you right now.
Yeah, her ears are ringing right now somewhere.
Yeah, and she had connected with me, Vanessa's name, when she was talking so highly about your Reiki practice. And I was creating a staff event at the place that we worked at together. So we would just create something super fun every single month to kind of help the staff connect together as a team, do that self-love, all that fun stuff. And she said, you need to bring in Vanessa. So I was like, let's do it. So I was able to bring in Vanessa and our amazing Giselle from Cosmic Laundry to do a group event where, Vanessa, you got to do oh my god, Reiki atonements on every single person while we were doing yin yoga, and it was incredible. Yeah. And I believe at the time you were also pregnant.
Yes, I think I was.
Yeah.
Sickly pregnant.
That's right. Yeah. And I was like, yes. I'm so grateful she's here.
Yes. Yeah.
That's very brave.
We've been reconnecting just off and on. You and I just kind of show up in the same spaces, and it's pretty sweet. So
yes. Yeah, you're giving me prenatal massages. Right. And yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it.
That's crazy. Oh, that's wonderful. Not to rewind it a little bit here, but where did you come up with the name of your company, your practice?
You'll love this. It was Jessica White.
No.
So Jess is I send her my stuff to review it, to make sure that I am getting my point across. And I really wanted something. When I first started my practice, it was all energy work, but my goal was to always be into shadow work and alignment work and more of a soul healing practice. So Belle Âme means beautiful soul.
Oh, I love that.
And I wanted something that was, I do a lot of my work kind of outside of just energy, psychic work. I really try to integrate psychology into it as well. So I didn't want something that was just crystals or Reiki or chakras, because eventually I wanted to embody all of it for the mind, body, soul work. And Jessica, I was like, I really like I always call everybody a beautiful soul. So Jess was like, what about Bella Âme means pretty or beautiful or alignment. So we came up with Belle Âme Healing.
Oh, I love
that. That's so
So
sweet.
yeah, Jessica's the best.
Oh my god.
Most Jessicas are.
Yeah, that's right.
So funny. Oh my goodness.
JW is just a real winner, though. I'm messaging her, Jess White, if you're listening, and I know you are now because I'm telling you about this.
Girl.
You are amazing.
Yep, in there. We all love you. Oh my goodness. It's so funny that again, I don't know if you've ever listened to our podcast, Vanessa, but we do a lot of
Shout
what's
outs.
the word? Not even shout outs, but like sidebars. We're like, oh,
Oh
that was
yeah.
interesting. So I was gonna say, when you've got your person being Jess W or Jess White, to like go over all of your stuff to like make sure it sounds correct. I swear everybody has that person. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody's like, I just need you to read it and make sure it makes sense. Just like
As a solopreneur, you know, you don't get a lot of like
yeah.
coworker spaces. So I always have to pull Jess in to be like, do you think this offering is good? Like that teamwork,
Yeah.
that validation is important. So whether
Totally.
she wants to or not, Jess is my my Belle Âme Healing
Your balami.
team member.
She's your
I love it.
salami to your balami. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
love it.
For a long time now, she's been my salami to my Belle Âme.
I love that. That's so funny. Oh, that's so
Oh.
sweet. It is a very small world. Saskatoon is so freaking small. I assume
love
you're in Saskatoon, hey?
I am, yeah.
Very good. Are you from the city or from the area?
No, I'm originally from a small town in Saskatchewan, and
Try
then
us.
in
Which one?
Imperial.
I've heard of
You know-
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. So I'm from Imperial, Saskatchewan, which is about 30 minutes south of Watrous. So right now we're camping in Manitou.
Oh, very
Oh,
nice. Okay, that's
amazing.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of a nice place. My family is close by to here. So we bought a camper last year and we've been out here for 3 weeks now.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I mean, we've gone to Saskatoon to do laundry and go to Costco and get groceries, but yeah, we're doing it. We're camping people.
That's
Oh,
so
that's
nice.
amazing. And how awesome
Yeah.
can you like wake up and just feel so grounded with like
Oh
the
my
actual
gosh.
earth underneath your feet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah. We
nice.
went to the Manitou Spring salt water last night
Oh.
for the new moon, and that was really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah. What a nice place to be like, yeah, like rooted and like find your, especially
And the
during like
salt
the
springs,
time of the new
are
moon.
they worth it? Is it worth going to?
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
The salt springs and everything, is that worth going to? I've never been.
Yeah, it is really nice. The water is warm and there's different temperatures in the different areas of the pool. It's not different tubs, it's just the areas of the pool.
Nice.
And then they also have the lake, which is really beautiful. And there's
Mm.
always something going on. They had a lot of live music last week. They do flea markets and there's lots of art galleries around.
Yeah.
So it's nice for just like a plus 30 day to get out of the city to come down to Manitou. There's
Yep.
mini golf for the kids. Yeah, it's nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a nice little spot. I know they've got like
Yeah.
the I don't know, it's an event center or like a hall or something.
The
And it's
dance
like,
land.
yeah, dance land. That's
Yeah.
what it's called. And it's like hay or something. The floor
Horsehair.
is horsehair.
You got there. We got there.
We knew there exactly. Dance land. That's so funny. Oh, it's been a long time since I've been there, but it's always been fun. So that's fabulous. Well, there's our
Yeah.
shout out to them. To haha, go
Yes.
and experiment and try it out. Yeah. Well, that's so
on
good.
Tuesdays they have something called Toonie Tuesday where kids are only a toonie to get in and they have a dance. So the girls went to that on Tuesday night. They're gonna miss it tonight because they're already in the city with their dad. I'm gonna follow shortly after with the niece and nephew.
Fair enough.
And but no, it's really fun to take kids to that. They just love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's so
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, that's
Yeah.
fabulous. Well, I guess moving into like you and you
Yeah.
beautiful creature, you know, I guess if you want to kind of, if you would love to share, we'd love to hear anyways. Your like spiritual experience, I suppose, like where did you get started? How? What led you to Reiki or
Yeah.
whatever you're doing now, I should say.
Yeah, no, so I would say I was always the friend that was the hippie friend.
Love it.
And I remember in 2008, Young Living was just kind of being introduced to my age group of friends. And I never wore perfume because I always struggled with migraine. So I would rub essential oils in my hair, or I would wear natural deodorant. And I remember my friends just thinking, oh my God, Vanessa, like you are just the hippie friend, which was fine. That was fine.
Yeah.
So to be more of taking a natural approach with my health and wellness and everyday living is kind of something that I think I've always been curious about and embodied. But I didn't even intentionally take this holistic approach with my anxiety, because I didn't realize that what was manifesting in me was anxiety. So
Oh.
I was having what later I learned was called a silent panic attack. So my chest was really heavy and I was always really short of breath, and it was hard to go to work or just leave my house and leave my space. But then at the same time, I wasn't taking very good care of my body. We went out a lot and didn't eat healthy. And I mean, I also just pegged that up to being in my 20s.
Yeah.
But eventually it manifested into generalized anxiety. So I went on medication for my generalized anxiety for a little bit, and it had some side effects that weren't working for me, but then as well, still not really working, like healing my generalized anxiety.
Oh, no.
So my auntie was the one who recommended maybe trying something energetically, that it was something kind of stored in my body that I was having a difficult time letting go of, that had manifested in generalized anxiety.
Yeah.
So I ended up becoming a client of Reiki and having really, really great results with that, being connected to my body, being more in alignment with so all of this is kind of, I work really closely with shadow work now. So kind of integrating like who I am versus the piece of me that I was giving to the world. And I don't think I would have really got there. It's been a long process of like, I've been doing this for about 10 years now. So it all started with just being diagnosed with generalized anxiety and just needing to take space every so often to connect to my body, which then eventually I started learning about meditation and mantras and journaling and therapy and all of that kind of stuff. So I say Reiki isn't the end all be all in my practice. It's like a very large integration of lots of different modalities. But yes, it all, Belle Âme all started with energy work through this auntie. And then she was doing, she sells Juice Plus and was bringing her team together for a team building thing. And just in that team building thing, there was like 7 of them that were taking the Reiki level 1 certification. And she just invited me to join. So when you take level 1 Reiki, what level 1 is learning how to give yourself self Reiki. So I think you should learn level 1 Reiki, because it's just a place so you can ground yourself and get into your energy. So I never really anticipated a total career change and that I would do Reiki. I just was doing it for my own self. And then I was really not there yet. I was still like, I don't really know energy work. This is weird for me. All the ladies there pulled tarot cards and angel cards. And I was like, what is this? Like, do you guys actually think this is working? And then there was so many strange things that happened that day. Like this one lady was telling a story of her grandmother, and her grandmother visits her as a hummingbird. And I was so far removed from, I mean, I did essential oils, but I didn't do like anything else beyond, I mean, now I'm like in it.
Don't worry, it's a safe space.
It's so good that you started off as a skeptic. So
it's weird for everybody.
And I remember being like, you really think your grandma is a hummingbird? Like, interesting. And then a hummingbird came to the window, and I was like, okay, coincidences, right? Like, it's summertime,
laying it away,
flowers outside the window. And then that same lady went to go sit on the couch, and a hummingbird angel card was under her bum. And I mean, like, this day is doing something to me. And then I kind of had my spiritual awakening after that experience, after that level 1 attunement. Then I became very emotional, aware of my emotions, not afraid of my emotions. And then that kind of launched Belle Âme.
Amazing.
Wow, that's fabulous.
That's so freaking cool.
Yeah, I think
sorry, go ahead, Jess.
I was just gonna say, I think it's cool that you did start as like a I mean, you were familiar but afraid. Do you know what I mean? And like, and that's
like, I could do essential oils and I could eat organic food, but to like believe in this other realm was a little bit different.
Totally. Yeah. It's like, what the,
I love that though. That's literally like the best type of story, because to be so skeptical and to be like very much like, no, that's not real. Like I'm here with a bunch of weirdos, and now you're one of those weirdos.
I am the biggest weirdo.
Now you're
I
like,
don't think
come
any of
on.
them launched businesses and facilitated courses and teach people how to tune into that other side. So I
Yeah.
kind of feel like, no, it was a long process of really like, do I embody this? Like, is this in alignment with me? Am I ready for this? Maybe I wasn't ready for things that I am ready for now, or maybe I've outgrown things, and that's okay to give yourself permission to transform and grow and learn and unlearn and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, so
exactly. Yeah,
so
it's a real
if you
thing.
wouldn't mind explaining a little bit, what is shadow work?
Oh yeah. You
Okay.
mentioned that and I was like, that's perfect. That's one of our topics that we want to do. And I'm like,
I
oh,
know.
maybe
Oh,
we should
great.
be back to do just that episode. But yes, definitely please touch on it if that's okay.
That would be so good.
Yeah. So when we talk about energy work, we talk about suppressed emotions, pieces of ourselves that were too difficult to acknowledge at the time, or pieces of ourselves that our body just had to suppress to protect us in that moment. Also, we have chakra activation periods where we're not really going to channel into our divine feminine energy until that portal is ready to open. So we have three pieces to ourselves. We have our higher self, which to me is the piece that's our alignment. That is our most authentic self. And then we have the ego self, which is the conditioned self, the pieces that we have learned. So you're living in a different culture, a different country. So rights and wrongs or yeses and nos are probably very different based on where you are coming from. So when we think about like what is right and what is wrong, that changes depending on governmental structures, parent values, core values, religious beliefs. So we develop an ego, and that ego isn't necessarily our right or our wrong. It's something conditioned on us. So it's the piece that we will believe whatever our parents say because we will do anything for safety, love, and connection. So we are our highest selves when we are little children, basically up until the age of 3. Yeah. And then we start to learn about the ego, and the ego is our conditioned self, the one that will make me fit in, be liked by other people, even at the cost of my own comfort and my own authenticity. So when you develop the ego, you have a split in your higher self, and then that suppressed, oppressed, denied is your shadow. And I think that you can't be your most authentic self if you've never met your shadow self. So it's okay to have, like, we have the ego, we have the shadow, and we have the higher self, but to integrate them all is where we find alignment. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, it really does.
Oh, it does.
Okay.
I love that.
So I use the example of dancing. I don't think that there's a little kid out there that doesn't like to dance. And in my belief, I think dancing is really healthy and liberating. It moves emotions, it moves the physical body, it clears the mind. Like, dancing is really powerful. And in a lot of belief systems, dance raises the vibration. But in some other belief systems, dance lowers the vibration, depending on your belief. So if you're a kid and you're dancing and your parents say, we don't dance, that doesn't feel good in our bodies, your psyche will have this weird, oh, that's so weird, it felt really good in my body, but you're telling me it's wrong. Right. And we will do anything for the approval of safety, love, and connection from our parents. So we'll suppress the fact that we like to dance, or that we like to move our body, or we like music, and then condition ourselves that we don't like that.
Yes. Okay, that's so
very.
I
That
definitely
make sense? Okay.
It does.
So
I have a note on that again, because it's always like I feel like the things I hear in like the week prior to like us meeting, I'm like, oh yeah, there's this quote that I heard, and it was when like as a mother, and I know you would understand this, when your son or daughter does something really exciting, it's changing the verbiage from I'm so proud of you to you should be so proud of yourself, and changing the narrative and
Right.
keeping that, that is like, oh, you love that so much, you should be so excited, you should be so proud of yourself, you're such a great dancer, you love to dance so much, like you know, that's your power to hold. It's not searching for approval and starting to change and shift that narrative so that children can continue to
Right.
grow up in that, you know, without having to suppress. Oh, sorry, Brittany's baby's doing something. But yeah,
Sure.
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways, I just thought of that that quote there. I don't know. I feel like it resonates because we are kind of in that psychological realm that you kind of spoke of a little bit earlier, and keeping it, what's the word? Don't even know. Again, keeping it like, what's
Or
the
just
word?
asking, you know, maybe what has it worked for me in the past, right? We love to pass along our limited beliefs onto our kids subconsciously, because, you know, that bit me in the butt once. I don't want that to bite you in the butt one time, but who's to say it will? So those fears become the ego, and their shadow, that bravery, that confidence, that independence, all eventually gets suppressed because mom said so.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh, my mom
Yeah.
said this might happen. And it's like, oh. But then of course it's, you know, to protect and to keep them
Totally.
safe. Right. So
Yeah, I took this course once that was like, what was once helpful in the past can become harmful in the future.
Yeah.
That at one point you can recognize, you know, that was really a healthy mindset and really helpful for me when I was coping in that way, in that moment, with that maturity, with that level of awareness.
Yeah.
But then now that I've have more awareness or more supports or a different external influence, it's now harmful, it's limiting, it keeps me beneath my capacity. So asking myself, you know, is this still necessary? Probably not.
Is this still in favor of your highest good and
That's right.
best alignment? Right. Exactly. Yeah, you're right. The seasons of life change as to our methods and our rules and our guidelines. So interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. That's neat.
That is so cool. So with shadow work, do you create a service so that way you can kind of walk people through where they do need to reconnect with that like inner child before the age of 3?
Yeah, like
yeah,
how do
I
you
think, I mean,
start
no
that?
child coming out of childhood unscathed, right? So we all eventually have a shadow. You know, I can't prevent my children from developing ego, being a shadow, and then eventually when they're doing their unlearning period and figuring, you know, just because mom said so, I disagree now. I'm old enough to have an opinion, which I'm sure that they will. Yes. So eventually Belle Âme ended up manifesting into what I call transformational life coaching.
Oh.
Yes.
And the reason I chose transformational is because I think your authentic self is always transforming. So who I am right now in this moment, I'm probably going to learn something from you too that maybe feeds an opinion of mine or changes an opinion of mine. So that will transform. So we are always transforming.
Yeah.
So that's the service 101-on-one coaching. And I don't identify as your hoorah life coach. Let's set goals and set you accountable. It's more of a, what's your relationship like with fear and discipline? And are you even aware of the limited beliefs that when you're having trouble reaching that goal, it's not your lack of discipline. There's a fear there. There's something there that's saying I'm either not worthy of this, or, you know, a lot of us with our weight loss journey is a classic one that comes in, is that maybe it's not that you can't lose the weight, maybe it's your intention as to why you need to lose it. And if you lose that, will you just be attracting negative energy that you had before, that you have to heal this negative reflection or aura that you have around that? So that lives in the shadow, you know, like that beauty standard of women doesn't fit into anyone's alignment, their higher self, that would be in the shadow. So that's why I chose branding myself as a transformational life coach, because my big thing is unlearning. Like just really explore that more. Like, why do you have that belief? I'm not saying that belief is right or wrong, but I just want you to address, like, why does it exist? Does it live in your shadow? Does it live in your ego? Or is it something that has been learned to serve you, to serve that highest good? And then also, if one-on-one coaching is a bit intimidating or not a financial commitment, then I developed a course called Alignment. And each week we break through like limited beliefs, boundaries, what shadow and ego are, all that kind of jazz, to kind of help you. Just my goal is to have you see things differently.
Yeah.
To not see like,
Seriously.
yeah, why are you doing this to me? Or maybe ask like, why am I having a reaction to this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is
Mhm.
so crazy. I'm sorry I keep interrupting. I just got a
She's
message from,
excited.
I am. I was like, what the heck? Well, no, I just got a message from my trainer. I haven't listened to it yet, but we're like going through that as well. Cause like in this weight loss journey of mine, like I have a coach and he's like doing the same kind of, it's called unfuck yourself. And basically it is like,
Mhm.
it's the unlearning, it's the dealing with the shit before we can, weight loss aside, it's like deal with, the things that are going on. Anyways, in our most recent conversation and our goal setting, it was like, I'm about 90% of the way finished my goal, but the last 10%, I'm trying to like not make myself feel guilty for the way I want to look and the way I want to, what I want to weigh. It's like changing that, like, oh, but I don't want to be greedy. Like it's my own freaking body. Like what? Anyways, it's just crazy.
Right.
It's just absolutely crazy because it's like, oh, okay, like a mother of two kids can't go up and down. Is that absurd? No, it's not. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, again, it's like,
Yeah.
what is that? Where did I learn that? Like,
From
or the
anything. Is that just-
expectation. Sorry.
Yeah, like I'm not sure if either of you guys follow like the Birds Papaya on Instagram, but
Yeah.
one quote that I saw recently is just like, is our whole life's reason or our whole life's goal just to be hot?
Right.
How was that?
Is that it? Oh,
Why?
like I want to look good. For
Why are we?
who? Why? Who
Yeah.
cares?
Or
I mean,
reframing that, like, I want to look healthy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And healthy looks a whole lot different than I used to think healthy was.
Totally.
Exactly. It's
Mhm.
almost like I'd rather see happy and be like, that's healthy. That's body confidence. That's like
Yes.
being comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, I mean, of course I could be wrong, whatever. But you know what I mean? And because healthy, what the standards weren't healthy. That's like, again, the swing of the eating disorder. Anyways, we're totally going off there. But I was just like, oh my God, we were just talking about that with Shane. But I'm like, why is this a problem for me to admit to myself that this is what I want? Who's making me feel guilty?
Yeah. And maybe he's not exploring that to, say like, Jess, this is not that difficult. You just need to set time away from your children and do your fitness goal. Where you're like, you're not a mom. First of all, I'm assuming he's not a mother to
He's
be
a
like,
father, a two and a
there's a
newborn.
layer of
Yeah.
mom guilt here, or,
Yeah.
to take 10 minutes away from,
Mhm.
but a lot of times it roots from, we have such a skewed perception of control
Yeah.
that sometimes I think, no, I'm trying to control the situation to keep me safe, not
Yes.
necessarily everybody
Oh,
else. So
no, for sure. And like to set the record straight, like my trainer is like, he wants to push me to get uncomfortable to answer these questions to better myself.
right.
I mean, he's not
Yeah.
by any means pressuring me to like lose weight or any of that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
He's
Yeah.
like
Okay.
literally my support person and like cries with
Gotcha.
me on the phone when I'm like, why do I feel this way? So he is a wonderful, so Shane, if you're listening, I love you, man.
Right.
Like, just to be clear, you're amazing. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's like, but that's the conversations that we're not having, that people aren't having. The shadow work is
Mhm.
like deemed scary because it's shadowy, it's dark, it's to be kept in the shadows, right? Almost.
Well, I think there's a lot of fear mongering in this
Yeah.
witchy, energetic
Yes.
world, to be like, actually, the shadow is just pretty basic psychology
Yeah.
of like, what didn't you get, or what couldn't your parents afford when you were growing up, so you convinced yourself that it was stupid. And then
Right.
as an adult, it's okay to say like, no, it's really, really, really important for me to play my kids to be involved in sports, where really that might be a projection from your shadow that you're pushing on your children. Maybe they don't want to play sports, and
Right.
we have the very different experiences, so we
Yeah.
love to push our own experience on other people.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that that core value of movement or team involvement or community, but it doesn't need to be you as a child.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I
love
can
it.
imagine that you are just like the fucking awesome
Yeah.
coach. Just to be,
Yeah.
you don't have, they're not like the woo rah rah one, but like it's still like your message is so clear I'm sure you connect so well with all of your people.
Yeah, it's very clear and
Yes, I hope
concise
so.
and like easy to like absorb. Yeah, I love it. Okay, I definitely think that we need to do like if you would be willing to come back and we could do like
Right.
a full dive into like shadow work and we can get some more questions and whatever together for you.
We
But
love that.
because I could literally pick your brain about that all day, but I want to learn about the other things.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, what else? I guess in your because sorry, you do manifesting as well as
Mhm.
yeah, so I mean obviously whatever you feel like you'd like to chat about, but yeah, it
Well,
just
and
feels
even
like you do
connecting to
everything.
the metaphysical too. Like you
Yeah.
said that you have psychic abilities,
Mm,
correct?
I would say I'm very intuitive.
Amazing.
Um, that's something that I've been recently exploring in my practice because my main goal is to teach you how to connect to your intuition versus needing to get validation constantly from the intuitive. So, yes, I am the intuitive. Yes, I can
yeah.
oftentimes get a read of what is for you. But, and I mean, I still do this in my practice, but I'm also really trying to reframe that I would love to see everybody doing their own intuitive work and trusting their own intuition and learning the tools how to do that
Yeah.
for yourself. Because I really don't think that we can or should be ever outsourcing our power or our opinions to anybody.
Nice.
So yes, I am an intuitive and I pull tarot cards and I do ritual work and I'm very, very heavily connected to the spirit world. But I always say I want to normalize it in a way that it is a birthright for all of us to have that
Hmm.
your like my belief system it's mine and only mine. It's not to be projected on anybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
But we all have an intuition. We all have um our own truth. And I think sometimes we know, but we're just seeking the tarot card reader or the psychic or the intuitive to just validate what we already know.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's why I love going back to Reiki, because Reiki is this deep connection. Are you either of you certified in a level 1 or 2 Reiki?
I'm level 2. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is this deep connection body and your intuition to be like, this is what needs to change in my life. But we're really scared of that. So we want to be like, I'm just going to go consult with Vanessa to make sure there's like not something else that I'm missing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally
Something
fair.
easier, right?
Yeah.
Like your kids are quite into it because you have 2 kids or do you have 3?
I've got 2.
2. Do you feel
I mean,
like
3
they're
if you count the dog.
Oh wait, we always
Reggie is
count the
6.
dogs. We always count the dogs. Do you feel like your kids are quite intuitive? Like, do you feel like they're definitely following the same path that you are in right now?
I say my youngest definitely has more of a spiritual flair, just in the way that she says things or the way she um yeah, she's just very connected. I don't even know how to explain it. Like Lane is my youngest. Lane will come up and say, I'm a spirit all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
And just strange things like that, where Rem, my oldest, and I don't know if Remy is that very connected to her emotions, but in tune with her emotions, I'm not too sure.
Fair. Yeah.
that's fair enough.
They're just personalities.
Gosh, I love that. They would be the coolest to be able to hear, like, if they like to talk about their dreams, whether that's a daydream or like a nighttime dream, to hear them like explain it would be wild
Yeah.
just because of their connection.
I just think all kids are. We had visited my grandma's gravesite with my mom one day, and it was in September. So it was kind of some Halloweeny things out, but Remy was standing on my grandma's gravesite and was like, I want to go see Pumpkin, Mickey Mouse, and the Pirate. Those are just really weird
Oh.
things to say, but
Yeah.
she's 3 years old. We're like, okay. But my mom's face went white and she's like, what did she just say? I'm like, I don't know. She wants to go see Mickey Mouse. Like, what 3-year-old doesn't think of Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse? And, pumpkins, it was around Halloween, just didn't really know what she meant by the pirate. And my mom has 4 other siblings, and they all had nicknames, and one nickname was Pumpkin. One of the nicknames was Mickey Mouse. And then one, it wasn't Pirate. So we're trying to figure out like what, but when you can only speak to your ability of knowledge and aware language, right? So we're kind of thinking maybe he has a boat. Like we were trying to think of like what would make her think that this uncle would be a pirate. But yeah, so I think just all kids are attuned because there's no filter. She is,
or maybe
where when
one
we
eye
get
is
those
different than the
messages,
other.
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, and I think we're also taught to fear all of that stuff. Where my kids don't watch scary movies to know that, ooh, if like a cemetery is scary. The girls were like, oh, I'm visiting my grandma.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
In whatever ever capacity we are. So that was very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, I
That
love
is
that
so
about
cool.
kids. My nephew, we were out on, was it Sunday night? Yeah, Sunday night we met up with a friend here in town at like, it's called the Abbey, like the Muckers Abbey. So it's like built in like the 1500s, old monastery. Anyways, I was actually watching Colin, my son, and there were some areas that he like would look out and he like would not go to that corner, or sorry, he threw his car because he had a car with him because my son, he like threw it out of the little spot we were in, and like I was like, okay, well let's go get it, and he like would not cross the threshold because he like peered out, and I'm like, okay, well I'll go get it because I'm like, he's just 4, so I was like, I'm gonna show you it's safe, but I'm not gonna say like, I didn't want to prod him because I didn't want to like, you know what I mean, I wanted him to like tell me if he saw something because he obviously was just nervous about it. He wasn't frightened of it, he just was nervous. But even after that, like he was really good there, he seemed very comfortable. But then my nephew, who's 8, we got into a really good discussion about, he's 8 years old and I don't even know why I was having this conversation with him. He's like, oh, what about ghosts, and what about this, and what about people? And I'm like, I love this conversation, but are you too young? I was
Right.
It's almost like, they almost have to go through like, their precious stage when they're like children, toddlers, and then they have to like, not saying I want them to, to lose that and then regain it, but it's almost like, you have to experience both, I think, in a balance of ways, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me thinking out loud. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to, no, I hear what you're saying. You don't want to just project. I mean, this is something that the 3 of us are really interested in and connected to, but it's something that a lot of other people have different views or opinions on. So I never want to project my work on my daughters, but I also want to normalize, like, we take a lot of deep breaths in our house and we talk a lot about regulation, and that there's a very large spectrum of emotions. And sometimes I think Remy can be a lot for people, but I also recognize that Remy feels the whole spectrum of emotions. So I think that not many people experience as much joy as Remy, but in order to be able to get yourself up to joy, you also have to be pretty comfortable with rage as well.
Yes, exactly.
So Lane is a little bit more, maybe you say balanced is the word, but her spectrum of emotions isn't as big. And so she doesn't get as excited or stoked about things, but then she also doesn't really get upset or angry about things either. So we normalize a lot of that stuff, but but then I also wasn't like, ooh, Remy, can you pull more spirits from this graveyard? It wasn't like I'm using your high vibration as a tool to connect to the other side. It was like, well, that was a bizarre experience and I don't know really what to take or think of that. But so I think, but also I don't silence my belief either, because I think it used to be like, oh, essential oils are too much for you. Just wait till you know that I like light candles on the full moon and do rituals as well. And my husband, whenever he walks in and there's incense, he's like, oh, what's going on now?
Nice.
Literally.
Is your husband super supportive, or was he ever just like, what the hell? What the hell?
What's going on?
Oh yeah, no, he's not joining me in rituals, but he also knows that this is really important to me and it's an extension of who I am and it's my career. When I first started, Devin works from home or just works out of the house, or he would never say what I did. And then it was one of his coworkers who he really admired was like, oh, Van, I noticed on your Facebook that you practice Reiki. I've been going for like 30 years. I didn't realize that I had anxiety and had difficulty managing stress. So I go regularly as just a means to listen to my body and listen to my capacities. And so we had a really good discussion about it. And then Devin was like, oh yeah, Reiki's so wonderful. Just like, okay, now
are you?
now
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
interested.
Now you can talk about it freely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
But no, he's supportive of what I do, whether he fully understands it or not. But also at the same time, he'll say things like, the energy in this room feels different. Or, you know, when I explain things like, there are vibes to spaces and people and places, and that's your spidey senses, that's your intuition. And I don't really know if he would have paid attention to that as much as after I started doing this work and learning more about it myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so great that he can be open to it. Just, and he is expanding, like the more, I'm sure it's just, again, like you said, it's normalized. It's just, it's in the house. This is what I'm open to talking about. It's like, nothing is ever hush hush. And like, maybe that gives him the opportunity to expand when he is ready in whatever way that looks like.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Making it like, it's part of your house and it's part of your life, but it's not the only thing that exists there, right? Like it's just one of your many parts, is that this is what you happen to do, right? Yeah, I love that. And that's kind of, I think, our goal for this podcast, and then us in our regular lives too, is like, this is the place where we want people to come and feel like questions can be answered, and it is a welcome and safe environment to find that community to ask those questions, right? Because some people have no idea,
and
right?
And questions, because we're all trying to learn.
We're all trying to learn. That's all we want to do, right? We're just happen to be doing it and releasing episodes. Right? It's like a study.
Well, and I think too, just because, and I have a social media. Yeah. And I think because there's a social media platform too, I think it's like an open permission that people come and ask me things that, you know, there's a lot of people that have curiosities about energy work, and so open about it. And there's a lot of people that will come, you know, I have this experience, or I was in a yoga class the other day and we were doing a neck opening and I cried uncontrollably. Vanessa, what does that mean? And it was like, to somebody that could have just been, oh, that was weird, and brushed it off. Or because, you know, that I have a social media that I publicly talk about energy work on, it was like, I have somebody to explore this with. So I think a lot of people are curious or open or have had experiences that they can't deny.
I know. I love the awakening that's happening, because it is like, I think people are like, oh, but what does it mean? It's like, well, let's explore.
Are getting more comfortable asking weird questions.
Exactly. More comfortable asking those kind of questions. Like it is, I absolutely love it.
Shame is being really dismantled right now, that we all have experiences and we all hold shame, and we also realize that it serves us nothing. So let's release it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a hard lesson, but it can be done. I mean, we're all doing it actively, right? And we'll never be done, right? Because there'll always be something, right? But it's a work in progress.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool. Yeah. I love that.
Amazing. So shall we get into our messages of the week here for our collective?
Sure. Yeah. And so Vanessa, if you would like to pull a card, like I said, you are welcome to.
Sure.
Whatever feels right for yourself, it would be great. So do you want to go first, Brittany, or do you want me to go?
Sure. I just did a quick shuffle here. So the deck that I chose this week out of many of mine is the Rose Oracle. I haven't picked for this one in a long time. So I was like, you know what, this feels good. So the card that I have picked, I love this for the message of the collective, is it's Codes of the Sea. Oh, is little Colin?
Yeah, go see Daddy.
Just see the blinds open behind Jessica, and
it's just a little blonde boy. Can't really see. Sorry.
That's okay.
There he is.
There's
to say hi, Auntie. Stand there and wave. There's a gate.
He won't be able to hear us, but tell him I say hi.
Here, I could literally. Oh God. No, it's okay. I'll leave him out there. Go see Daddy, honey.
He's like, no, let me just dance. Let me just dance.
Just gonna hide in the curtain. Cool. Okay.
Oh God.
Ryan. Sorry, I'll turn off my mic. 1 second.
Okay, so while she does that, I'm going to talk about the card here. So
Sure.
this one is the codes of the seeds. The blueprint is inside you. It's within you. Take the next step. So it's like you're buried in this egg, this little cocoon, and I'm just kind of loving it. Very much like birth card, where you're just like getting ready. Again, next step. Your awakening, whatever that might be. But I'm going to read a little bit just to kind of get a deeper look. I've never pulled this card before, so I really love this.
I do love the term blueprint. It is like, it's just like who we are in our journey and what we have to do. And this is part of that, and the understanding of our bodies. Oh, it's okay. You're good. Don't worry, Vanessa. We're used to. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, my nephew, he would be mortified if he knew that he was going to be shown on a podcast. So I'm like, oh, you don't want to be in here.
Okay. You're welcome to if you want, but it's fine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's a teenage boy. He's like running for the hills from these three witches.
Fair enough.
I get
Fair
that.
enough. One day he'll be running towards us, though. I can feel it.
Yes.
So yes, so the quick message about this card is that it delivers the message that you have everything you need to create what you're destined to create, to move through everything that life delivers and navigate your way through any terrain. So this trust that you have within you the codes for the most glorious rose garden waiting to bud and bloom. Remember that blueprint. All you need to do now is take that next step. So I love that.
Sorry, I just let him in. You can say hi to Auntie if you want.
Hi, baby boy. Hi. We don't need to see your tummy, though. We don't need to see your belly. Hi, baby.
Say hello.
Hello.
This is Colin.
Oh, you're a cheek. You think Vanessa is absolutely beautiful.
There's episodes of him literally throwing potatoes in there. Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, I love you, baby. Night night.
Oh my God. Yeah, Colin's a reoccurring star on this podcast. You just
I'll plug back in here so that a little bit easier for me to hear. Sorry. There you go. Okay, lovely. Okay.
But yeah, so a lot of that is just like following your blueprint, taking the next step, you're ready. So I really like that card.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm thinking you said it, but Vanessa, so yeah, when we pull for the collective. We don't necessarily know when this is going to come out. This will be coming out in, I don't know, potentially
before September, I would assume.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, I think end of August, early September. So I'm kind of like thinking, okay, in that time, like what do my people need to hear? What's going to resonate with them, or what's going to help guide them through the next week here? So let's see. And I'm doing my Kim Kranz, my spirit animal book. I adore this book. It's more of an oracle. But yes, let's just see. Okay. Ooh, a horse. I think I don't know if I've never pulled on the pod, I don't think, but I don't even know if
we were talking about horsehair earlier in this
episode.
Yes. Yeah.
Momentum, freedom, expansive energy, and force. The horse represents the most masterful form of the earth energy within the deck. It provides us with momentum so reliable, so supportive that you can ride on its back toward any goal, no matter how difficult the terrain. A horse personality is fully awakened, fully alive, and cannot be defeated. The horse's freedom becomes available to us when we hone and collect our energy through daily practice. Physical stamina, exercise, and mental focus, meditation, are the secret weapons behind the horse's legacy. So when we're in balance, we achieve anything and we never give up. When we're out of balance, we may run away or feel weak. And to bring into balance, strength training. I love that.
Was that from Shane? That was from Shane.
Yeah.
That was for your coaching experience.
Yes, yeah, no literally kidding. Exactly. Yeah. I literally will message him later and be like, so by the way, I name drop you so many times. Yes. Don't listen to the podcast, but surprise, I'm a witch. No, he's into that stuff. So that's great. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Vanessa. What did you get for us?
Okay. And I pulled Clairsentience, a message from Archangel Raguel. And notice your reoccurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance. So that somatic connection to your body to ask, I think that things start spiritual, manifest emotional, and then manifest physical. And then when we're unlearning, we need to unlearn the physical, the emotional, and then we'll experience on a spiritual capacity. So that is the clairsentience card.
Yeah.
Love
Which is like,
that.
yeah, clairsentience, sorry, is the feeling, right? Is like
Feeling.
that. Yeah. So appropriate for today. I love
Mhm.
when these come together and they just like tie it up into a nice little bow. And it's like, yeah, listening to yourself and feeling all of your feels, like your
Yes, and
daughter,
Reiki
right?
is
Yeah,
yes, and Reiki is embodying clairsentience because
yes,
it's the practice of touch.
Yes.
exactly. Yes.
Same with
Oh,
massage. Yes.
yep.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. I love how all of our cards work together as well, as
Yeah.
they
There's a
normally do.
beautiful thing when it does that. Exactly. And they usually do. Exactly. It's like, oh, yes, because our spirit guides, our team, they're always looking out for us in our
Yeah, they're
little
giving high
pod
fives
here.
for each other as we do these interviews. They're just like, yeah.
Yes. They're like, we can do it. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
So
Well,
before we let you
go
go,
ahead,
is there
Brittany.
anything
Yep.
you'd love to kind of talk about, like your business? Like, where can people find you? Do you have any events coming up? Any promotions coming up that you want to kind of chat about that'll be so first like September or like the fall?
Mhm. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at bellamhealing.com, which is BELLEAME healing. As well as I have a website which has online booking and then all of my services and all the pricing of my services at www.bellamhealing.com.
Perfect.
I don't know if I'll have an offering in September, so maybe I'll just highlight a few of my favorite service is silencing the ego.
Right.
So I developed that service because a lot of us don't know about the ego shadow and higher self, and the ego is the uncomfortable piece that we don't want to admit that we hold on to, the limited beliefs, the helpful in the past, harmful in the future feelings, the protective layers that we've put on, the avoidance layers that we've put on. And there's a big buzzword in the spiritual world called killing the ego. I don't think the ego ever really dies. The ego is always there. We are always going to unlearn something. Something that I believed in yesterday, I might not believe in tomorrow, or I have a different feeling about. So I like to call that one silencing the ego. That's the most uncomfortable reading because it often says, there's work that you need to do because everything is at the center of you. So if you find yourself wanting to change people, maybe you change being around those people. Like, what can you do within your capacity and control? So that offering is called Silencing the Ego. Sometimes I take it down, but I think right now it's up on the website. So I'll make sure it's up there for September.
Nice.
And then I also do certifications in Angel Oracle Tarot.
Amazing.
Level 1, level 2, master practitioner and master teacher Reiki classes. I also do the one-on-one transformational coaching, which is largely rooted in the spiritual side of things, teaching you rituals and getting you into journaling prompts and setting up sort of practices for you to tune into that side of yourself. And then I do online and distant Reiki.
That's amazing.
So those are just,
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely make sure to
Amazing.
mention and link all your social media and your website in our show notes. So that'll be available through wherever you listen to podcasts. Yeah. I mean, that sounds wonderful. It sounds like such like a amazing offering of stuff that you've got going on. And it feels so like intuitive and natural for you to be doing this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. You know what? It just feels good. I'm like, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world, of course. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I got that feeling. So I'm like,
the sense.
all the sense. I'm getting all that sense.
Yeah. I'm a projector in human design. So projectors. Yes.
Oh, wait, what are we, Brittany?
So are we.
We are too. We're both projectors.
And there's not many projectors out there. So projectors who are knowledge sharers. That's a projector.
Literally, we just one of our previous guests. Oh, sorry, it was Cosmic Laundry on, and we like did it with her. So funny. She's like, we're both projectors, and we're like, I don't know how we get anything done, but we do.
No, I don't know how we get anything done either.
Just constantly unsolicited advising everybody.
Yeah, literally, we're like, you may not want to hear this, but
Yeah, you love to hate a projector.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
Because we are right. So,
You know,
Exactly.
sorry.
And we have
Right?
all the
We're not
ideas,
sorry.
but we don't
Yeah.
want to execute them. We're like, here, let's just tell you all the things, but I don't, that's where I'm going to leave you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get
exactly.
you where you need to be, and then you run with it, and just nod.
That's right. That's why I'm not the accountability coach. I'm just
Exactly.
the advice coach.
Exactly. We will get you. We will give you the tools, and you can execute it. Exactly. Oh, that's so funny. Very good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I guess you guys can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I always forget. Basic Banter for Witches. And you can also email us. So sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, where is my brain today? Basic Banter for Witches at gmail.com. If you've got anything to add or lovely
Any
things to
ideas?
say, ideas, want to be on the
Questions you want to
pod.
learn about the shadow.
Exactly. Oh my gosh,
Ah,
exactly.
exactly. I love
Yeah,
it.
if you've got any questions or anything, we absolutely would love to hear them. And then we would love to have Vanessa back.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's dig into the shadows and see what's there. Oh my gosh, it'll be so much fun.
We are
Yes.
ready to go, but Vanessa, we're going to have you hold on for one more second as we say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah.
So you will be able to listen to us wherever podcasts are found. And of course, if you want to see us in person, YouTube is the way to go. That's where all the shenanigans are.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we love you all, and we will see you next time.
See you then. Bye, guys.
Bye.